Welcome to the Grow Your Law Firm podcast, brought to you by Pilma. This podcast helps lead lawyers to more growth, profit, and freedom. Here is your legal marketing expert and host, Ken Hardison.
Well, hello, everyone. This is Ken Hardison, and today I got a very special guest who has agreed to come on our show, and it's the Texas Hammer, Jim Adler, who I've known for many, many years and who I think is one of the most gurus when it comes to marketing and growth of a law firm. And I know you don't do a lot of interviews, and I appreciate you doing this. And I really, I was telling you earlier, this man owns Texas pretty much. He's the biggest spender. I know he signs up to most cases. I'm not going to ask him how many, and he's got a great infrastructure. And I know this because he was in my mastermind for years. And it ain't just about marketing with Jim. He knows a lot about infrastructure and a lot about management. And I've always, because it's two parts of it, as we know, as you get bigger and bigger, you got to specialize on infrastructure. So I appreciate you taking time. And I just want to start out. How'd you get started in all this, Jim? I mean, everybody's got to start. What got you into all this?
So how I got into it is way back when in the 70s and 80s, I was a general practitioner. I was doing divorce work. I was doing bankruptcy. My background was in securities law enforcement. I was doing franchise law. I was doing investment, private placement memorandums for venture capitalists. I was doing, did I mention bankruptcy and divorce and real estate?
Yeah.
And eventually I went into practice with a former federal judge, Robert O'Connor, who was a brilliant lawyer. And Bob O'Connor told me, "Hey, Adler, you're running yourself ragged trying to have a general practice. Let's form a law firm and we'll handle personal injury cases." So at that point, it was recently after the Bates and Osteen versus Arizona State Bar case.
Right.
So I had started advertising, and Bob was a big free speech guy. He believed in advertising, even as a federal judge. So we started to advertise for personal injury cases and workers' compensation cases. And Bob would do the litigation because he was a fantastic trial lawyer.
Right.
And as a federal judge, he had tried or presided over a lot of trials. And before he was appointed to the federal bench, he had tried a ton of cases. So we started doing automobile work, third-party workers' compensation. At that time, Texas had a very favorable workers' compensation law where you could actually make a contingency fee on workers' comp. So we began to grow, and what we found is that we were getting so many cases that we needed to build an administrative structure. And we created what I consider the 7 fundamental departments of a law firm, because the biggest mistake that a lawyer who wants to go into marketing can make is to not have the structure to take care of the cases. Am I talking too much? You want to
No, you're telling it like it is. I love it. Keep going.
All right. Well, feel free to interrupt me if I get off the rails, okay?
No.
Okay. So, what are the 7 fundamentals of a law firm? Number 1 is your marketing department. You've got to have a strong marketing department, and we have our own marketing committee. Number 2, in our law firm, you have to have an intake center that is absolutely focused on intake. That's all we do in our intake center is take new client calls. Then our third department is what we call our case management department, and what we do is we have meetings to review all the files. We call it and you've heard this term a million times, Ken. Every 2 months, we have verification meetings where we review every file with the handling lawyer and the case manager. So that's the third department, is the case management department. Number 4, you have to have a great litigation department with strong trial lawyers and a good briefing practice, a good motion practice, and that's critical. And we primarily handle our catastrophic injury cases, our larger commercial files in our litigation department. Number 5 would be what we call the packaging department. And those are people who prepare settlement brochures, and that's all they do every day. I think, at least from our standpoint, I can't talk for other law firms, but we've just found that it's better to have separate departments where people can be really good at separate functions.
Right.
But what you have to handle the client relations part. What do I mean by that? A client gets bonded with a case manager, and I'm back into pre-litigation case management. Okay, you with me?
You got you.
Yeah. So you got a case manager that's really great, fantastic people skills. The client's bonded with the case manager, and next thing that happens, they get passed to a case manager. To a packager. Where's my case manager? I got to know him or her really well. Now I can't talk to them. Well, sir or ma'am, senora or senor, the way we handle that is we want the best possible people helping you with your case. And everybody can come up with their own rap about why it's necessary to have different parties, different departments. Number 5 is what we call our accounting and closing department, the money people. So they handle all the incoming checks from insurance companies. They handle out all the outgoing disbursements to healthcare providers, to clients, etc. And then they do all the financial accounting. We have a financial review meeting every month, which is part of our accounting department. And I have my son, Bill, who's a fantastic lawyer in the law firm, and he's going to be taking over pretty soon here because I looked in the mirror the other day, Ken, and I noticed I wasn't getting any younger. And, that is so disappointing because I went to the fountain of youth and they told me I could get younger if I drank the water. So what happened? What's the deal, Ken?
I don't know, but listen, the alternative is not better. You know what I'm saying? Because if you ain't getting older, it means you're dead, right?
Yes, sir. That's true. Number 6 is accounting and financial and closing. And, when I was in law enforcement with the Texas State Securities Board and was chasing after investment promoters and con artists who were conning widow women out of their life savings in these investments. In my former life, I was in law enforcement, and we had an accountant in that department that said the story of any business is in the numbers. And that's so true. I took a number of accounting courses when I was a young lawyer because one thing that law school, I diverge, but one thing law school doesn't teach you is the business of law. And one of the most important aspects of the law business is accounting. So there's that. So that's number 6. You want to guess what number 7 is, Ken? Or should I just tell you?
Just tell me.
You sure you don't want to guess?
Oh, no, just tell me. I'm afraid I'll get it wrong.
Number 7 in modern times is the internet and social media department.
Yeah.
So important. So we have an in-house internet director. We have an in-house IT manager who not only runs hardware, software, but supervises our internet director. We have an in-house social media person, Sarah. Brian is our internet person. Dustin is our IT and internet director or supervisor, so to speak. So we have an internet meeting every month and we review that data and see how we're doing. So that's our 7th department. And, you know, we're concerned with SEO, all the traditional stuff that you talk about in your wonderful seminars. You got some of the best speakers for SEO, Facebook, you know, social media. And you didn't pay me anything to say that, by the way.
No, I didn't. I appreciate that. It means a lot coming from you.
Thank you.
It really does.
So that's kind of, you know, a high altitude view of how I think. And, you know, I think everybody runs their law firm a little different. So.
But I would agree with you. Numbers are very important. I always tell people, if you don't know your numbers, you know, how can you get better? Or how do you know if you're better? Like I know you know all this. I'm not going to get into the weeds, but I know you know what percentage of the cases that you want that you actually sign up. I know you know where they're coming from to the best of your ability. You can't know it all, but and I guarantee you know what your average fee is and what each lawyer, what their average fee is and how long it's on their desk and things like that, because you're running a big operation. How many lawyers you got now, Jim?
I think we're running right at 30, and we've got a total of 278 employees, and we're in the largest cities in Texas. We're in Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio. And, you know, the population of Texas now is, you know, we're like a country. We have 30 million people in Texas. So, and we're real particular who we hire as attorneys. So I think we've got some of the best attorneys in the business.
The Grow Your Law Firm podcast is brought to you by PILMA, Powerful, Innovative Legal Marketing and Management Association. PILMA will help you grow your law firm by 25% in 1 year, guaranteed. To learn how we can help your firm, visit us online at pilma.org/grow. That's PILMMA.org/grow. PILMA. We grow law firms.
Have you had a problem? You know, I'm talking to a lot of lawyers now, and I just wonder if it's trickled down to you. And if it hadn't, I want to know what your secret is. I'm finding a lot of lawyers, people, maybe not the lawyers, but the staff are leaving, or either they decide they want to do something else, or they want to come back. And you know, it's the whole big, you've seen it on the news. Like 10 million people have damn just quit their jobs in the last 6-8 months. They just want, They want something else.
Yeah, that is the craziest phenomenon that I've seen I've been practicing over 50 years. My son reminded me the other day of that. I try to forget it, but he keeps bringing it up. And as a result of the COVID-19 phenomenon, it's hard to find case managers. It's hard to find paralegals. There's a lot of great lawyers out there, and we find the lawyer market, lawyers want to work here because of our reputation. But, you know, what do you call it? All the government benefits and people getting that free money, and they didn't want to work. But even I read an article the other day, even when they're not getting the money, they still don't want to work. Or we just lost a case manager today. My office manager told me, because this person wanted to go into mortgage banking from being a case manager. So, but I don't know if that's just humanity. The grass is always greener on the other side. And The other thing that's kind of unique about us is we're very demanding on our case managers because they've got to do a good job. They got to take care of the clients. They got to be people, paper people. And we have a lot of meetings that they have and reports they have to prepare. And they have a lot of responsibilities and they got to return phone calls. So it takes a special type of person to be a case manager at Jim Adler Associates. That being said, we got people, Kenny, that have worked here for 30 years, 35 years, 20, 10. A short termer is 5. So we keep our people and we do a lot for our people. And I think if you treat, to use a cliche, if you treat your people with dignity and respect, if you pay them well, and we try to do a lot of things for our staff that are special, and that makes people want to stay. And we always joke and say we keep the ones we want and we lose the bad ones.
There you go. Well, the biggest deal is people want affirmation too. I mean, they like the money and they like the benefits, but like you say, you treat them good. I guarantee you recognize, either your office manager, somebody recognize the people when they do a great job. That's
Exactly.
really what people are wanting now, I think, more than anything.
You know what's so crazy, Ken, is that we have the Jim Adler College of Case Management, and so people are always trying to steal our best people, but they won't leave because they know how good it is here. But they know that we train our people well, and we teach them a trade, and that's important because if I always tell them, look, we like you to stay here for life, but if you leave, you have a portable skill that you can take with you. So,
yeah. What would be your advice to young lawyers out there that really want to go big? What would be your?
Want to be Jim Adler?
Yeah, they want to be Jim Adler or John Morgan. Yeah.
I'd tell them wake up about 4 a.m. and work till about midnight or 1 a.m. and learn everything and do everything you've got to do all the jobs of all 7 departments when you start out. And you've got to be able to do any job in the firm, and you need to do case management. You better go to court and have about 20 or 30 jury trials under your belt. Don't tell people that you're a personal injury lawyer or a trial lawyer unless you've tried a bunch of cases and had a lot of hearings before judges. I'd say give back to the community. Be active in your trial lawyers association. Be a joiner. Meet other lawyers. Join lawyer organizations. And try to be involved in charities in your community to give back. I think there's so much. Golly, we could talk about that for 4 hours, but there's just so much. And one thing you always emphasize is read books about business and management and marketing. There's so much information out there, and probably the most wonderful invention is the internet. You can find any kind of information there. So educate yourself.
Yeah. I think you got to be a continual learner. That's one thing I feel like I just got certified as a John Maxwell leadership coach and also a scaling up coach. Thank you. And a scaling up coach. And my wife says, "Why are you doing all this? You're doing good. You're successful." I said, "I just thirst for knowledge. I want to get better at what I do. The more I know, the more I can share." Right?
Yeah. How many books would you say you read a month now?
Not that many, believe it. I probably read 2 books, but I read probably 3 or 4 abstracts.
Yeah.
So, I've got to where you can't read them all. And if I really like the abstract, then I'll go read the whole book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I subscribe to this abstract, and it gives you about 15 pages of a whole book. And I can kind of tell if it's something I want to dig deeper in, and then I'll go buy the book. But yeah, I read a lot. I really do. And I listen. Got where I'm listening to some too when I'm flying or driving, I listen to a lot of Audible stuff now. So, it's just so much easier than it was when we first started practicing law. Everything's changed. I mean, you've been doing it, 50 years? I mean, I've been a lawyer since 82, so that's almost 40. I mean, things have changed. I mean, when I started, nobody believes this. We didn't have computers and we didn't have a copier. We had carbon paper that you put between the sheets. I don't know if you remember that. And when you typed it on the selector, it just made a carbon copy. I mean,
and God forbid you made a mistake, you had to start all over again.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Crazy. But you're right about readers are leaders, and the more you read, the more you learn, the more you can lead. And the other thing that's important in starting a law firm is to have good people skills and good management skills. And I see so many lawyers that scream at their staff and they wonder why they're not successful, and they blow up. And remember that the people that work for you are on your team, and treat them right, treat them nice, and they'll be loyal to you. So I think that's very important. One difficulty we've had on account of COVID is getting our bigger cases to trial. And the insurance companies have really taken advantage of COVID as far as stalling everything. It's ridiculous. What's new is some of these artificial intelligence case management systems, and we're thinking about going into that. What else is new from your stand? What are you hearing about?
Well, I think you're right on. The AI is very important right now. I think videos, it's been that way for a while, but most lawyers, I mean, I know you've been doing them because you're always the leader, but I've been preaching it for like 4 years, 5 years. And I think it's finally, people are believing me now. And I'm seeing a lot more lawyers get into videos. And I want to announce something right here. I've been saving it, but I hired a company, Jim, to do a study, do a survey and do a study and to analyze what makes people hire personal injury lawyers. What is it they like, don't like? I mean, it was and they're putting it together now and coming up, but I got the initial results.
Wow.
And I can tell you this, social media for the people that are going to hire lawyers that ain't already made up their mind, very, very important. I mean, I knew it was important, but it's more important than even I thought. There's a class, about 42% of the people that want to hire a lawyer, but they're afraid they'll be seen as greedy. Okay.
Yeah.
And a lot of these people are your younger people, and they're and what do they look at? They don't even look at TV. They stream and they look at their phones and all the social media. I mean, you can look at, there's a lawyer in Atlanta. In fact, he just joined one of my masterminds, Ali Awad. He does nothing but social media, Jim, and he's signing up over 100 cases a month with nothing but just social media. I mean, he doesn't do TV. I mean, he's got a very little bit of a website, no SEO. He's just doing social media. If he does all this other stuff, he's going to take over Atlanta.
That's fantastic because, I mean, there are lawyers. I hear there are lawyers that are building their practices on social media.
Yeah. It's so hard to break into TV now because when we started doing TV, Jim, it was direct response. I mean, the deal is I could tell when my ads were running because the phones would start lighting up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think it's more, so you've been doing it so long now, and like my firm so long, it's really more about branding and name recognition. And I don't know what you think about that, but that's kind of the way I'm seeing it. It was a lot easier when we entered the market. Now you go in there, I tell people if you can't be in the top 3, don't even mess with it. If you don't have the money to do it and the stomach, because it takes longer. Back when I did it, I'll never forget it.
Absolutely. Well, yeah.
First day I was signing up cases.
Yeah, that's so true. And back then, in the early days of advertising, at least in Houston, cable TV was very limited, and there was maybe, 6 or 7 TV stations in the broadcast arena.
Right.
And you could just be on broadcast TV and be a hero. Now there's broadcast, there's streaming, there's cable, there's internet, there's social media, there's outdoor, there's just a plethora, and people get their information from so many, like you were just mentioning, from so many different sources. So it's hard to pin down the prospective clients and know where they're going to come from.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you raise a good point.
Well, good deal, Jim. Well, I told you I'd keep this to 30 minutes. I really appreciate you taking time out.
My pleasure. Good to see you. Stay well.
All right. You take care.
All right, buddy. Talk to you later.
All right.
Bye.
Till next time, this is Ken Hardison, dedicated to your success.
You have been listening to the Grow Your Law Firm podcast, the podcast that leads lawyers to more growth, profit, and freedom. Go to growyourlawfirm.com to find more ways to market and manage your law firm. Please leave us a rating and review wherever you listen to your podcasts.